Hey guys, it's Deborah. I want to talk to you, just give you a little story time. Just do a little story about something that's recently happened to me and share it that and it's with regards to a Muslim man telling me he believes we're in the end times and what's all about to happen. And it was insane. So let me just share this with you. So starts off with the fact that my car had broke down, my minivan, and it was old, and I've had it for a long time, and I knew it was, gonna break down, and so it wasn't a shock. So I really rode it to the end, and so yeah, it broke down, and me and my husband went and found a new vehicle, and it was rough because I had to borrow a vehicle till the new one was ready, just because I have kids and there's work and different things. Obviously, just getting around life. So it was like a struggle just this last little while. Anyway, so I get this new vehicle, and it's not new. It's a 2014, but it's a crossover, and I got this new vehicle, and it was really, beautiful and comfortable and new to us because we had really old van before, and it just came directly off the lot of the dealer. And so anyway, I'm really liking it, and I'm thinking, it's going to last a really long time or whatever. We had a warranty on it. So anyway, it's going to all tie in. So I'm driving. It was just me this one time. I'm driving it after I had about 3 or 4 days. So I had this vehicle for about 3 or 4 days, and I was on a side road. It was kind of like a little back road. I live in a town, so it's not like a big city. And then in this, there's main roads, but I was kind of on a side little road, and I'm driving, and that will matter. So why I said that. So I'm driving, and I get to, I'm pulling up to a crossroads, and the vehicle starts going slower and slower. So even though I'm accelerating, instead of it going at a normal pace, it's just going slower and slower and slower. And I had a half tank of gas. So I'm sitting there thinking, what is going on? It's getting slower and slower. And then I'm accelerating. I'm putting my foot down on the pedal as far as it will go to the bottom. And it literally stops. So instead of accelerating and getting faster, it's actually getting slower. And then in the middle of the road where people have to basically, go around me or whatever, I completely stop. So I'm here now, stopped, not knowing what happened. The vehicle made sounds, loud noises, all this different stuff. And basically, I'm no, it sounds like it was not exploding, but something really bad was happening. And so here I am just stopped in the middle of the road, and it's done. The vehicle won't move, period. And it was like a push start, it had no key. So I'm pushing the button. I'm not used to push start. I'm putting my foot on the accelerator, the brake, and pushing the button. And I'm what has happened? What have I done wrong? And so I'm sitting there this is brand new to me. So what could be wrong? Anyway, all I see is this big tow truck to the side of me, and it's sitting right there. So just at the same time that I'm here now, stopped and pulled over, I'm not pulled over, I'm in the middle of the road. This big tow truck is sitting next to me. So then here's the thing. Tow trucks where I'm at, they can tow you, and maybe it's the same everywhere, I don't know, but they can tow you, and they have the right to tow you if it's not safe or something, but then they'll charge you this huge fee. Now, I live in Canada, and we use CAA, and I don't know if that's an American thing or just Canadian or all over Europe and wherever, I have no idea, but it's called CAA. It's basically roadside assistance. And I pay a yearly membership for it. So basically, I'm no, I don't want this tow truck guy to tow me away because I have CAA. So this guy comes running over to me, and he's I can help you, I can help you. It was literally a rescue. The minute I broke down, there's this massive, and I said it's on a small side road because I wanted to make that known that was so random to have this guy here. And on the side of his tow truck, it says CAA. So not only is it a tow truck, it's actually the roadside assistance that I pay for. And so I'm thinking like maybe this guy can help me. I just don't want to pay anything extra. So he's like, no. Do you have CAA? He's like, you can call it in, call my code in or my worker number or whatever, call it in, and then I will be able to, you can use your coverage. Like, you don't have to pay. So I'm like, fine. I'm feeling like this is fishy. Like, oh my gosh, is this guy legit or whatever? Because he just comes, what's the chances he's coming running to me the minute I'm like at the side of this road? Anyway, so I call the roadside assistance and they're like, yeah, no, this guy's legit. Like, he can tow you and you won't get charged and everything's fine. So I'm like snappy with him. I wasn't the greatest because I've been through a lot recently with this whole vehicle stuff. And now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have a vehicle yet again. Yet again, I'm going to have no way to, I work a part-time job. I have kids that go to therapy. I have different like stuff like that. I know it's hard to explain what they go through, but the point is they, and well, just regular stuff like groceries and whatever. And so it's like, I'm like thinking this, I have to go through this again. I've already been through this for like over a week and now here I am again with a brand new vehicle. And I'm also thinking, I don't want this vehicle anymore. Like, I clearly got a lemon, something is wrong and am I going to be able to get out of this? All this stuff going through my head. Anyway, so this guy is like all nice to me, sweet as honey. And like, even though I'm being snappy, trying not to be, but I am, he's like so nice. And he's like, just get in my truck. I'll hook you up. And then like, I'll take you back to where you were coming from. And then, you can go from there. So anyway, I'm like, fine. So I get in his truck. He tows me back to where I needed to be. And then from there, the dealership sent somebody to go get my car. But so on the drive, okay, this man begins to tell me like randomly that, all this was happening for a reason, that God made this happen or allowed this to happen to you so that you would, see how you react to it and all this different stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. So you believe in God clearly. And then he starts telling me about end time stuff. He starts saying Jesus is coming back. Jesus is the Messiah, that there 70 nations are going to reign from Israel, that it's going to be the UN is going to be gone and that the world's going to be ruled by one government and one leader, the Antichrist. And he said the Antichrist is on the earth right now. And he said it's about to happen. And all this stuff, like someone like me hearing all this from the CAA driver, this roadside assistance driver who's on the side of the road at the exact same place that I need him to be when I'm broken down. Clearly, this was meant to be. So I'm like praying in my head. I'm like, Lord, what do you want me to say? Like, is this guy a Christian or Muslim? Because he was actually Middle Eastern, like nationality. And I was thinking, I wonder what is going on here. And he had a very full beard. So I was thinking, not to be, judgmental, but I was thinking maybe, he's Muslim. So then I asked, are you Christian or are you Muslim? And he was like, I'm Muslim. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, Lord, now I really don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. What is this? This guy's telling me all this stuff. And he's like, I believe Jesus is the Messiah. So to any Muslims, if they ever are listening, I mean, I don't 100% know what you guys are believing in that respect, but he said he believes Jesus is the Messiah. And he said that he is going to come back and he's on his way back. And he said the Antichrist is alive right now and that he's about to rule from Israel. And he's like, the one thing I have to ask you, he asked me, is like, why Christians believe they're going to have a way out of here. So I started explaining the rapture and I started explaining Noah and what happened. I started explaining the, just so many references, like, there's the Jewish wedding feast and wedding traditions, how they relate to 7 years, you go, or for 7 days, you go away with your bridegroom and the bride alone in the wedding chambers, and how it's so similar to the 7 years. And just the fact that the Bible says, pray that you're counted worthy to escape. We didn't say we want to escape. He says, pray you're counted worthy to escape. Jesus used that word. No, sorry, I believe it was Peter. But either way, it's in the Bible that we should pray we're kind of worthy to escape. So it's not so much that we want to escape. It says to. So, we do want to escape because this is nuts. Of course you would want to. Anyway, regardless, I talked to him about that and he was like, oh, interesting. But none of this was a fluke. And now I know possibly what they believe. And I said, so the main difference is that you believe Jesus is not different than, he said, he's no different than Moses. He's no different than Muhammad. He's no different than Abraham. They're all of the same caliber, but he is the Messiah and he will come back and save everybody. So that's what he said he's waiting for. And he said the Antichrist is alive right now. Okay. So this was not a fluke. All this happened to me I couldn't have sat on the side of the road and had that happen. And and I forgot to say, what happened was a gas line had broken and gas had leaked all out of my vehicle, all down the road like a river. Someone had lighted a match. So that's my story. And honestly, this is proof. He is at the door. So many times recently, I've just been kind of getting wrapped up back into the world because of life situations. But honestly, sometimes it's like God just snaps his fingers, says, wake up. Nope, nope, wake back, get back on track. I am at the door. Like, I mean, at the door as in even Muslims believe the Antichrist is alive right now, not in 20 years, not in 15 years, now. And that Jesus is coming back now, and that the 70 nations are going to rule from Israel now with the New World Order, that this is going to happen now. And what the situation happened to me was just showing me that this is like, that was not a fluke. None of that. That was crazy how it all went down. And for it to turn into a discussion of the Lord's return, what? And it was just, none of it was a fluke. And I know for sure it's now. What does now mean? Does it mean today, tomorrow? What it means is any day, imminent, in our lifetime, in way less than our lifetime. Like the characters and the people that are at play that we're watching and waiting, the Malachi prophecies, the different prophecies about the, Israel having no government, and, the Benjamins and all this kind of stuff leading Israel, and what's happening with the impeachment, and who's going to take over next. That could have been horrible. It was all leaked out. So anyway, in this whole scenario, I have this man who's right from the roadside assistance company that I need. What's the chance of that on this back road, side road, who picks me up, comforts me, tells me this is all part of God's plan, and then tells me all this stuff. Him telling me he was Muslim really threw me off until I asked the Lord in my head, what should I say to him? What should I say? And this is what came out of my mouth. I said, ask the Lord for a dream to tell you ask the Lord for a dream and ask him, what is Jesus Christ's deity? What is his deity? Those are the words that I felt like I was supposed to say. Ask him about his deity. Ask for a dream. And so I just kept telling him that. And usually, because he was very strongly in his faith, usually you'd get maybe, oh, I'm not going to do that, or I already know, or whatever. And he said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask his deity. I mean, that alone was huge. This man is now going to ask the deity of Jesus. Even the fact that he's willing to do that, because he was not wavering in anything else that he believed. And so I was like, maybe it's meant that I just tell him that. And when he let me out of my destination, and he towed the vehicle and everything, he said, can you please pray for my eternal soul? And I was like, for him to ask me to pray for him, again, he was quite the adamant Muslim, and he was also the aggressive party in the conversation. Not aggressive, but the more outgoing, outspoken. I was more listening because I was in a state of shock still because of the gas leaking everywhere and me just thinking about my future coming those next few days. Now, I'll just to say how the story went is there was another vehicle that me and my husband really wanted at that dealership. There was two, but we couldn't afford the one that we wanted so badly, another crossover. It was just too much. And so we had to take this other one that we didn't really love, but we took it because it was going to work and whatever. And so the way the story ends when it comes to just the vehicle is they even though they weren't working that day, they found somebody right away they elevated it to the top of the company, got somebody to tow that vehicle back to the dealership. The next day, or no, the next 2 days, it was a Saturday, by the Monday, we were back at the dealership. They got us the vehicle that we actually wanted, reduced the price, reduced the interest rate because we had to finance the vehicle, and made it so that the payments were all cheap and the whole vehicle was like thousands of dollars less and it was affordable. So we now are driving the vehicle that we wanted in the first place, that we felt like was the right vehicle for us. Like we just felt like it was the right vehicle. And was that the enemy? What the heck? But look what the enemy means for good, that for harm, the Lord will turn for good. That could have been a huge, can you imagine all the gas leaking out and everything? But instead, I get at the crossroads. I felt like I'm so taken care of. Like we're all so taken care of by the Father. Like even though we would never want to redo these situations, like I never want to live through any of this again, any of that. No, never, never. But it's amazing how he takes care of us, and he's like, I'm here. It sucks, but I'm here, at least with you. And here I give you, this ride right away, and this really nice guy. And like I said, this man told me everything. He understood about the 70 nations and ruling and the Antichrist. He said that he is alive right now. He knows. And he said, Jesus is coming back. And he said, we'll all understand when he comes. The Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians. He just doesn't understand why Christians believe in a rapture or a catching away. So when I talked to him about that, he was like, oh, I get it now. I get it. So I don't know how to explain this whole situation, but all I can tell you is he believes and he knows. I pray that he has a dream or has a vision, understanding or something, that the Lord, that Jesus Christ is not the same as Moses or Abraham, and that, his deity is that he was from the beginning. I tried to explain he was from the beginning. He is called the Word, and he was born into this world, but he was always from the beginning. I hope you enjoyed the story. I know the graphics weren't the best. I more just wanted to get it out. It's more like a podcast. And yeah, I hope you just were able to maybe just relax and listen and be encouraged. That's mainly what I'm supposed to be doing. That's one of my main gifts, is encouragement. So I hope you were encouraged. And yeah, I have more to talk about soon. So until next time, have a blessed day or evening. And yeah, just keep looking up, because it's about to happen. It's all about to go down. So until next time, God bless and shalom.